Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Monday. This is Alan Devlin with Atlanta News First, checking in with you all this fine Juneteenth. And I've got the thumbs up from my web producer there. That means you guys can hear me, which is all I could ever ask for to start off, I guess, to kind of end this holiday here that we're celebrating at Atlanta News First and across the country. Second year in a row, we've had this as a federal holiday. So basically, what is the whole point behind Juneteenth? I want to kind of start off with talking about that because some people think it's the day that American slaves were granted their freedom. It's not. It is related to that, but in a different kind of way. It's actually the day that the last slaves back in the 1800s in Galveston, Texas, found out that they were actually free and that the Emancipation Proclamation and the war had ended years earlier, granting them their freedom. Up until that point, when they actually physically went to town, the Union soldiers went to town, went to Texas and told everybody, look, you are no longer a slave. You are not required to do any of this anymore. They were under the impression that they had to. So Atlanta News First, Monica Kaufman Pearson actually walked us through what this looks like and the history behind it and how Atlanta is celebrating. There was a massive celebration over the weekend. I hope you guys tuned into Peachtree TV and got to participate in a little bit of it, or at least see it, witness it. It was phenomenal. As Atlanta always does, we know how to do a good celebration. Monica Pearson walks us through a little bit about the history of Juneteenth and some of the importance and why we celebrate it today.
Since President Abraham Lincoln had first signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But many enslaved black people in Texas still weren't free. The reading of General Order 3 gave enslaved people a reason to celebrate.
Juneteenth means freedom.
This is a day of power.
I can think of no better way to observe Juneteenth than being with community.
And when they learned they were free, they started celebrating, and we've been celebrating ever since.
Former slaves would travel to Galveston annually in honor of Juneteenth. That tradition soon spread to other states, including here in Georgia. Initial celebrations centered around educating former slaves of their voting rights. But now, celebrations include cookouts, parades, church services, and musical performances.
For me, and I think for many communities of black people, it's a time to really commemorate those ancestors who survived slavery, right? Because if they had not endured, we would not be here.
We get together, we eat, we laugh, we listen to music, we dance, we praise God, we do it all.
Juneteenth became a federal holiday just 2 years ago in 2021.
All right.
All 50 states and the District of Columbia recognize Juneteenth as a holiday or observance, and nearly half of the country has designated Juneteenth as a permanent paid or legal holiday. It's an acknowledgement that some say helps move Americans forward toward unity and understanding.
For me, when I think of the 4th of July, I think about the fact that my ancestors were still enslaved. And so Juneteenth gives us an opportunity to celebrate our independence and when we were officially free.
And there you have it. And I apologize there at the very beginning. You lost a little bit of that sound up front. You had the music, but you couldn't hear Monica talking. She basically said what I had told you before we went into that package, which was a brief history, brief background of how we came to be. But the rest of that story was able to really paint that picture for you, as well as what we're doing here in Atlanta. So on this fine Juneteenth Monday, what I want to do now is kind of roll through rapid fire some other stories that we're covering on top of the celebration that took place over the weekend and that's happening right now all over the country, because there are some other things that are important for a lot of you guys out there that are listening or watching right now. One of those things being that we have an active boiled water advisory in the city of Sandy Springs. Sandy Springs is actually my hometown. I'd say Atlanta, but more specifically, it was Sandy Springs. And so everybody in that area, and we've got a map I want to show you real quick, has to boil their water. A 48-inch water main busted there in Sandy Springs on Sunday. Yesterday, they have repaired that water main pipe today, but they're still wanting to do some testing and flush out the pipes before you start drinking or eating with or brushing your teeth with the water that's coming into your homes. This is important because, unfortunately, Adam Murphy was out there today. He found out a lot of people in Sandy Springs did not know that this was happening, that there was a boil water advisory. My father is aware. He lives in Sandy Springs to this day, and he was talking to me earlier about how much of an inconvenience it is to not have access to that water. So with that in mind, you guys want to make sure you stay on top of everything when it comes to boiling your water and keeping things in place. And I actually just got handed something from my 2 minutes ago. This guy came down 2 minutes ago right from our assignment desk. I was just going to talk to you about that advisory. It is staying in place until at least tomorrow morning, and you want to continue to follow those rules and regulations I was just going through. Boil your water, rolling boil before you use anything whatsoever. They're going to give an update tomorrow at 9 a.m. That is where we stand right now. So through the rest of the night, and continue to boil your water. If you're going to use it to eat, to drink, to even to brush your teeth, boil your water first, let it cool, and then use it for whatever you need it with. Restaurants are taking certain precautions and doing everything they can to be able to provide you with food if you want to order out tonight. But again, we're going to get an update at 9 a.m. as they continue to test the water. They're doing sampling protocols. This is just a step to make sure there's no bacteria in that water from when it was standing still with low water pressure that could impact you or your family's safety. One more time, 9 a.m. Do not drink or eat any of the water, or use it to eat at least any of the water, until they issue that update tomorrow at 9 a.m. The hope is that come 9 a.m. they'll be able to tell us you guys can get off that boil water advisory. It would have been about 48 hours at that point. So hang in there. You will survive. I promise you that. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about here is an amazing rescue off Georgia's coast. This one is very, very interesting, and I'm going to pull up some pictures and some video to show you a little bit about this. A boat was going down in the waters off of Georgia's coast, and a Good Samaritan was actually the one that stepped up before the Coast Guard could even get there and was able to help the people on that sinking boat off. It was a family. They all needed assistance. This is a little bit of the video of them getting to shore. So as another example of, you pay close attention to what's going on around you. You are able to help those around you, because who knows what would have happened if those Good Samaritans hadn't jumped in to save the people on board that boat right off Georgia's coast, because they responded before the Coast Guard responded. But the Coast Guard did get there with the ambulances and the stretchers and check on everybody. Everybody's going to be okay. But, as we are actively out and about in the waters this summer, because it's a beautiful summer so far, make sure you're staying safe and make sure you're ready to jump into action and save somebody if that time comes down to it. Because that's exactly what happened here. And we, get to celebrate some more lives there because of it, because who knows what would have happened if that boat had gone down with those people on board. Scary stuff for sure. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is a current homicide investigation that's going on right now in Lawrenceville, where we've got some domestic violence that turned deadly, unfortunately. As I said, you heard me say homicide investigation. So right now on the left side of your screen, you are looking at Justin Lacey. He's been charged and arrested in the homicide of who police say is his brother, Bryson Modem. Police say that they arrived to the home after shots were fired in that neighborhood, and witnesses speak to a terrifying situation there in Lawrenceville. They say that Lacey on the left here fired shots through a door, allegedly killing his brother inside the home. He then left that home, and that's when neighbors sprang into action to try and save the person who was shot, Bryson Modem. He did not survive. He was pronounced dead, and now Lacey is facing those charges. Hear what one of those neighbors and witnesses had to say about what it looked like after those shots were fired.
The shots. I came running up here just to make sure everything was all right, but a lady was in the street screaming, "They killed my husband, they killed my husband." So I kept going, and literally the man was laid out front of the front door on the sidewalk, pretty much gone already. His sister, his niece, another lady, and his wife was out here literally trying to help them, and the people right here next door actually came out, and she is a nurse. She started CPR. I ran to the house to get towels, to try to stop the bleeding, but it was a little too late. I just pray for the family. The family was really devastated.
Yeah, and it was, unfortunately, a lot of family members there in that area who were present when the shots were fired and then who tried to save Bryson's life after the fact, unfortunately, to no avail. And so what you have right now is, as you heard, a daughter, a niece, a wife mourning the loss of their brother, father, cousin after this shooting. And right now, again, Justin Lacey facing charges in that homicide investigation. Once we get more information on that, we'll be sure to let you know. The last thing I want to leave you guys here with right now is an investigation that we are keeping an eye on that's developing right now in South Atlanta. All we know is that 2 people have been shot near Maury. That's just about 10 minutes, honestly, south of downtown, south of Midtown. And it is an active investigation. There are a whole lot of units on scene right now. And we've got Gary. Asia Wilson is headed to that scene, correct? Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First, Asia Wilson is headed to that scene to bring us some more information, whatever she can find out. That'll be tonight beginning at 9 o'clock on Peachtree TV. Again, all we know right now, 2 people shot, and it remains an active investigation. It's Maury Avenue. Maury Avenue, correct. I'm making sure I get my road names right. So if you're in that area, make sure you are staying away from Maury Avenue right now. They're shutting down that neighborhood. They're blocking the gates. And there is, again, it remains very active out there. 2 men shot in that area. We do not know their condition at that time. We're working to learn that. That's why we're sending Asia Wilson, so she can get us more answers. She'll get to the scene very shortly, and we're going to keeping an eye on it and do what we can. All right, so guys, thank you so much. I appreciate your time here today. I appreciate you chatting with me. Again, Alan Devlin with Atlanta News First. We are here every day, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., talking to you about some of the stories. I gave you more than I usually do today. Usually I stick to 3, but, I had some extra time today. No weather this time around. We're going to roll right through it. But I will tell you that it has been a on and off rainy day all across the metro. Right now, this is a live look. Things are looking a little bit better than they usually have been today. But that's not going to stick around. We're going to get more clouds later tonight. We're going to get more clouds tomorrow. So just keep your umbrella handy through the next 3 or 4 days, honestly, all this week, because it is going to be a rainy one, and we want to get you prepared. Our First Alert weather team, 9 meteorologists. 9 years in a row of accuracy, 7 meteorologists. Biggest team in the Southeast will do everything they can to make sure you know everything that's coming your way. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time here today. Have a great rest of your Monday.